All right, welcome to Frontline, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. We begin tonight with Trump's DOJ busting a decade-long marriage fraud scheme worth big money. 11 defendants have been charged with orchestrating more than 1,000 sham marriages, primarily from Chinese nationals seeking immigration status. I thought they said it wasn't happening. And some allegedly paid up to $100,000 for a fake I do. Plus, the crackdown on fraud continues with the Southern Poverty Law Center back in the spotlight. What the heck with these guys? They're the worst. Former finance officer has now been arrested and accused of helping funnel more than $1.2 million in donor money through a nonprofit to an informant while in the white supremacist group, the National Alliance is what it's called, who was reportedly also her lover. I don't know who would love her, but we'll have more on that in just a bit. And didn't see this one coming. President Trump announcing on his Truth Social, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will be departing her role. She's done a great job, but she's going to be leaving at the end of the month so she can spend more time with now her 2 children. She will continue serving as the president's top outside advisor. But first, is cattywampus afoot in Wisconsin? But was it part of the plan? Let's do this. I'm just like, this to me, how do the polls keep getting it so wrong? I have weathermen who are more correct than the pollsters in this primary cycle. Francesca Hong was defeated last night in her primary in Wisconsin, despite all the polls, all of them, averaging her 28 points ahead of anybody else. Don't get me wrong. She's crazy. And she lost to somebody who's gotten virtually no media coverage, and even some of the legacy media networks. They were so shocked as the results were coming in, especially when they were informed in real time that 5 USB sticks supposed to contain election data were just blank.
I guess the exact thing, yes, is if 5 of the USB sticks were missing results from the election, so then they have to go try to re-grab them. Yeah, and they're all the folks behind the scenes are talking about this as well, so we can also look. It's unfortunate.
The folks behind the scenes here, you're saying?
Yes.
Are how do I ask this artfully? Okay. Do we still have an audience?
It's that crazy. I'm just going to say this for the record. But again, third world countries conduct elections with 0 electronics, paper ballots, and IDs, and they have the results by that night. This is the stuff that makes people question elections. In fact, the DSA, the opposite side of MAGA, is now doing the exact same thing after the election officials revealed that, oh, this was human error.
We uncovered was that 5 of the sticks had the audit log downloaded and not the results. It's a human error.
Look, I'm not making any accusations here, but when you human error and all of a sudden the guy polling almost 30 points behind suddenly wins by half a point, it looks kind of weird. In a party that has now replaced 2 major candidates in the last 2 years after an election. After an election, they swapped Joe Biden for Kamala Harris, and recently they just bounced Graham Plattner. Is it out of the question? No. It happened with Barack Obama, too, and they got caught.
Barack Obama got on the ballot because Democrats in that county submitted fraudulent ballot petition signatures. People, including the Democrat county chair, went to jail over that. Barack Obama should not have been on the primary ballot in the state of Indiana.
Not an opinion, it was proven in a court of law. The same party that did that is also $20 million in debt to consultants from the last election cycle that they still haven't paid back. The same party that is asking vendors this cycle to not bill the DNC for their services until after the election, which is not how business works, but they're socialists, so they don't understand business. They also had to put their physical headquarters up for collateral. I'm sure no one would have any doubt that this party might attempt some tomfoolery to push out what even AOC and Bernie Sanders saw as an extreme liability. Again, not making any allegations, just stating the obvious observations here, just asking questions that Democrats are going to have to answer in the wake of this Wisconsin election, by the way. But the other side of this is, what if all of this was just a show? What if Hong and El Said in Michigan were all just a psyop to get the extreme socialist wing of the Democrat Party on board with the establishment of the Democrat Party? Spencer Pratt raised this question. He's been through this. He said they use fake polls, they use third world bots on their X accounts, they cheat wherever they can to give false impressions of popularity, inevitability of the socialist virus, because the language of the communist is the lie. Now, I saw this and I was like, wow, actually, he might be onto something. Think about this. It's actually brilliant. It's not Democrats who are doing this. The elected Democrats are all morons, but people who are behind the scenes are not stupid who get them elected. Elevate radical people that the extreme socialist wing of the Democrat Party gets behind. Pay for polls, because, you know, Act Blue has been getting all that money from fixed income old ladies who donate 80 times a day. Yeah, right. The men behind the curtain with the dark money, the same people who chose Kamala, who pushed out Plattner, and pulled these levers behind the scenes, they pay for polls to give these socialists false hope, even pay for ads that they know do not poll well with the generic Democrat voter, but make the socialist happy. Stay with me here. Then the men behind the curtain actually spend a ton of money on the get out the vote efforts on Election Day and for mail-in ballots in favor of the person they want, which is the more moderate appearing candidate, who aren't actually moderate at all, like Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger. So they have a better chance in the general election. Now, the result here is Democrats get their person they believe is more palatable. Socialists feel heard. Those same behind-the-scenes players then offer that extreme candidate, like Hong will likely be, who lost, a big payday at a donor company. I mean, she couldn't cut it in the restaurant industry. Running for governor was her backup plan. So they're going to have to get her a job at a PAC or a company or whatever. And then in exchange for that, she'll tell her hardline socialist followers to, hey, guys, we gave it our all. Get behind this new guy or gal and unite the party, and pow, they have a united party for the general election. I mean, this was their plan in Michigan last week. I actually don't think that El Said was supposed to win. But when AOC and Bernie endorsed him, he did by accident. That's why those two didn't endorse Hong, because they overplayed the psyop in Michigan, and now they have a radical Muslim socialist who trashes football in a state that, by the way, has the largest stadium in the world, or I think in the United States, that packs, I mean, these guys packed the parking in the Michigan University football season. The big house holds over like 110,000 people, and it's still overflowing every Saturday. Yeah, that guy's not going to do well in Michigan. Hear me out. Not far-fetched, considering the tactics Democrats have used in the past. Again, Al Said was a mistake, kind of like all the other times Democrats lost control of an operation. Fast and Furious, when they lost track of guns they were trafficking to the Mexican drug cartel to make the case that America had too many guns. Yeah, that got a U.S. border agent killed under Obama. They have used psyops on the American people for decades. Remember when I told you about this being authorized under Obama to use psyops just like this on the American people? You ever heard of the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948? This actually prohibited the U.S. government from disseminating government-funded propaganda or psychological operations materials on American citizens. Well, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, which was incorporated into the National Defense Authorization Act of 2013, signed by President then Barack Obama, changed that. Specifically, Section 1078. Got the receipts, folks. The primary goal was to remove limits to the United States government's ability to counter foreign propaganda. This basically showed the government the ability to influence U.S. public opinion. Now, the left-leaning intel community would never get involved in an election wrongfully, right? Oh, except when they funneled the Steele dossier to start the Russian collusion hoax, or when James Comey fraudulently and illegally interviewed Mike Flynn and tried to charge him with lying to the FBI, or when they raided Mar-a-Lago, or sending the number 3 DOJ guy all the way downstream to work in Alvin Bragg's office during the election to prosecute Trump, or coordinating with a Georgia prosecutor, Fani Willis, to charge Trump with a state crime that he could not federally be pardoned for. No. They would never do anything like that. Never underestimate the tinkering the party screaming democracy will do to circumvent democracy. But Trump should launch a full-scale investigation into this election. It's a win-win. Think about it. No Democrat should object to this. The socialists sure wouldn't. If it's found that nothing was wrong, then great. We restore faith in our electoral process. If you do find fraud, The socialists will then revolt and then tear the Democrat Party apart, likely start a third party, actually, which would guarantee Republican wins across the board for, I don't know, a century, and will make it a pretty clear case for the Save America Act that you would probably get a couple more Democrats to get you across the 60-vote threshold in the Senate. Checkmate. Wisconsin Congressman and Republican nominee for governor in Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany. Sir, I mean, what went on there is crazy. 30-point discrepancy in the polls in reality?
There's no doubt about it. A couple weeks ago, the Democrat establishment, they were panicking full time. And they're like, think about it. You got a guy that was in the race, David Crowley, got out of the race, and they pulled him back into the race. And he is now the nominee because he was the chosen one by the Democrat establishment. I would be really upset if I were Francesca Hong's supporters.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing is, you know, and you're on the ground, sir. Obviously, this is your race. You know everything about this. Has there been any, even like serious, not like fraudulent allegation, but like serious allegation that this was a mission and things might have been tinkered with at all?
I think some people have gotten the sense that happened. We'll see if they rise up. I mean, we'll see, because they were the most passionate followers. Hong's campaign, all the way up until about 2 weeks before the election, when she made the mistake of calling a policeman an executioner, they had run a flawless campaign up to that point. And they've got to be upset about, they had all the passion behind them. They were on their way to winning the election. In the final 2 weeks, the establishment came in on the Democrat side.
Yeah, I mean, it is shocking. And there are ups and downs of a two-party system. This is actually one of them. But, you know, in this whole thing, you have someone like Hong, like she had no resume whatsoever. The fact that she was even polling as well as she was is amazing to me. I mean, running for governor was her backup plan to failing at business. This other guy, like, he went largely unnoticed during this entire election.
Yeah, like I said, he was in, and then he got out, and then they pulled him back in. He was the chosen one. I mean, is this a la Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what they were thinking, but clearly they were like, well, this is going to be our guy, and they barely pulled him across the finish line. But make no doubt about it, Democrats across the country, including the establishment, they have capitulated to socialism. They may not say it, but that is where they are headed. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like boiling the frog. Francesca Hong wanted to boil the frog right now this year. They're playing the long game on the establishment side, but they're going to take us to the same place.
Yeah. No, 100%. This is the other thing. Obviously, you're in Congress now, so you can probably understand what's going on here. Let's, God forbid, the Democrats take back the majority in the House. Okay, you've got Hakeem Jeffries going to try to run this show. You're going to have 40 or 50 like DSA-backed people that are hardline going to buck him on every single thing he tries to do, unless it's so far left that it's unpalatable.
Yeah, I have no idea how he's going to herd the cats if he were to become the majority leader. What has to happen here is the American people, they see the specter of socialism. And it's part of the reason I have been hearing it throughout Wisconsin. They were scared to death of Francesca Hong. And they should be scared to death of these socialists. And it is the reason why we have a chance to hold majorities in both houses federally, but also to win the governorship here in Wisconsin. Because the guy I'm running against now, David Crowley, he's already said, my policies won't be much different than Francesca Hong. He'll just say it in a nicer way.
But that's the other thing, too, is the liberal media, the mainstream or the legacy, whatever you want to call them, they're always like, well, the more moderate guy won. And it's like, hold up a sec, guy. Like you said, exactly just saying it with a little bit more polish. Abigail Spanberger was supposed to be the moderate one in Virginia. She's a nut job.
Yes. So this guy has said, I'm going to implement basically the same policies as Francesca Hong, but he's also failed Milwaukee County. When they had a budget deficit, did he tighten the belt at the county? No, they raised taxes. It got so bad that their healthcare system that serves 5,000 people in Milwaukee County, it expired. It expired. And so just incompetence. And we're going to give him a promotion to the governor of the state of Wisconsin. I hope the people of the state of Wisconsin are watching closely. We cannot allow that to happen.
And sir, if you needed any proof of this, again, you're in Congress, so you know these people. A pledge was circulated to House Democrats reading, "We are capitalists, not socialists," and only 10 of 212 congressmen on the Democrat side signed this. This tells you everything you need to know about the entire party.
Yeah, yes, they have capitulated to socialism. Whether they say it or not, they have. That's the way it is. Carl, I got to say one other thing. I'm coming from the Swagger Inn in Linden Station, Wisconsin, a little place in south central Wisconsin, and they love you here. We're doing a tavern talk tonight, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, I really appreciate it. That means a lot. I mean, I actually love the Midwest quite a bit. I was just out in Iowa and hit up a boot barn, got myself a couple new pairs of boots. So hopefully I'll get out to Wisconsin and see you guys. Congressman, we appreciate it very much. Good luck, sir.
Thanks so much, Carl.
All right. Coming up, we spend all day obsessing over inflation and interest rates, but what if we're missing the biggest economic shift of all? I'm going to give you my take on that in just a sec. But first, another taxpayer-funded failed California bullet train project was supposed to be the ride of the future. It was actually supposed to be like done 10 years ago, but it may be running out of steam and also cash. Where'd all the money go? There's no tracks. We got another week of Unfiltered coming up next.
A Social Security update. Millions collect Social Security, but 70% of Americans don't get their full benefits. Now, a new report shows how to boost your Social Security by as much as $188,000. Author Matthew Allen reveals 5 key strategies in a new report. Newsmax calls it the best guide for retirees. Everyone needs this free Social Security report. Act today to get your full benefits.
Every 8 minutes, a claim of sexual assault is filed against rideshare drivers.
But rideshare companies prohibit both drivers and riders from carrying firearms to protect themselves.
Imagine this banana was a less lethal device capable of incapacitating an attacker in a fraction of a second and allowing you to escape.
At Byrna, we don't sell bananas. Go to Byrna.com to find out how you can always be prepared to defend.
I can't change my AMD diagnosis, but my eye doctor and I can change what I do about it with a plan that includes the most advanced PreserVision formula yet.
Introducing new PreserVision AREDS 3. A unique vitamin B complex is combined with the clinically proven AREDS 2 nutrients recommended to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression. A new triple action formula to help support macular health, made to protect, nourish, and boost.
For me, it's got to be 3.
New PreserVision AREDS 3.
I've been in the fitness industry for more than 25 years, and Fatty 15 is a built-in recovery system for your cells. You can't have a healthy outside if you're not taking care of the inside. Try Fatty 15.
When Saturday rolls around, I don't want to jump through hoops to watch college football. Good thing DirecTV makes it easy to keep up with my favorite college teams. No hopping between apps or channels.
Stream college football without the hurdles on DirecTV.
All right, we got another week of Unfiltered. The Minnesota Star Tribune has found a historic first worth celebrating. Amy Klobuchar, the first woman to lead a major party ticket in Minnesota. There's just a problem with that. Republican Lisa DeMuth is also doing it. And she's a black woman. Funny how they forgot to mention that one. Bob Brooks, co-host of American Agenda and host of Wise Guys, Johnny T. All right. Bob.
Hey, T, good to see you, man.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm glad I ran into you today.
Exactly.
Psyched.
So they just leave out the fact. It's the same thing as like in Virginia. They were like, oh, historic, Abigail Spanberger. She's the first woman. It's like Republicans tried to put up a black Marine.
Typical liberal media reaction there. I got to get to, does anyone know what Amy Klobuchar's father did for almost 40 years? Columnist, Minnesota Star Tribune.
Weird
how that all works out. That's where her dad made their entire career, supported their family. If anyone thinks the Minnesota Star Tribune is ever going to do anything but kiss Amy Klobuchar's, you know what, you're wrong here, all right? Totally biased reporting against any Republican. Her dad worked there for 40 years. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. What's also funny is that Lisa DeMuth would be the first black female governor in history, but, just like in Virginia, they just breeze over this stuff, and they have no shame.
No, they kind of make this stuff up as they go along, right? If you remember, Kamala Harris was going to be the first black woman president. The only problem with that was she wasn't black. She was Indian, She was like the brown color, but she wasn't.
And what is a
actually,
woman?
Yeah, what is a woman?
Exactly.
How are we? Ketanji Jackson can't even answer that question.
I mean, technically, if you go by their theory, George Washington could have been a woman. So
Barack Obama was half white.
Right.
He's got a white mom. He's the first black president.
That completely goes off the rails.
Speaking of rails, California, they have none. They've spent $126 billion on a high-speed rail, and there is no rail. None. There's none. And they're like, we're going to run out of money. We need more money to keep this project going. For what?
Yeah, for what? To waste your money? I actually think that the people out in California, the money's got to go somewhere, right? Somebody has received money, whether it's from an environmental study or whatever it might be, an engineering survey, that they're just going to keep this going. They're probably sitting back thinking, this is the best game in the world we got going right now.
We don't have to build anything.
We don't have to do a darn thing, and we're getting rich out here in California. They love it.
Hey, boys, if these guys had vowels at the end of their name call, they'd all be in a RICO case. Imagine I got a couple of my Italian friends. Listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say we're building this train station here, but we're not going to do a darn thing. We're going to hire all you union guys, like Bob said. We get 10,000 surveys. Who cares?
We're not going to do anything.
Pay everybody when they ask questions. Say, wait, it's held up. I heard about a bathroom in California. They spent like $6 million on. They can't open it 9 months later.
Yeah, you remember? No, somebody. I think somebody blew it up in the first 24 hours, and the plumbing got clogged. I think it was in San Francisco. It was like $3 million for like a single commode, and it worked for a day.
You did a whole segment on that. I remember. Millions of dollars for a porta potty.
Yeah.
You talk about waste, man. If anyone would ever run again for national politics out of the state of California, you would have to be insane, just based on how they operate.
Well, on the other hand, I might want to run out there if we could pick off $9.5 billion and nobody asked us where the trains are.
It's the biggest scam ever.
If I was going to run for anything, I would just say, you know what? Before we build any type of project, we're going to poll on Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now. Should we build this, and is it worth this much money? And if the poll comes back no, we're just not going to build it.
That would make sense.
Don't run for office, Carl. You're not good at kickbacks and grafts.
No.
You don't know how to work.
I'm out. I'm eliminated. All right, Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White was big mad during a press conference. Watch this.
I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time. I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back.
Oh, you didn't see it because that's funny. Look at this.
Whoa.
We have a new WNBA draft member here, but look, there's the coach in the background. Hey, put that picture back up real quick. Put that picture back up. You can see the head coach. She's staring right at Sophie Cunningham in that whole thing, and I didn't see it in real time.
She didn't see it.
Was there hair in front of her eyes, Gianna?
You know what, Carl? Thank you for having me on today, and thank you for switching me out for JT. I really appreciate it. I'm Gianna Tabacco, and my lifestyle choices at this time, I'm identifying as a woman, which is the sole eligibility requirement
so
to
much
get
courage.
into the WNBA.
You just have to identify.
And, my credentials are, in 7th grade, I came in 2nd in rebounds in the CYO. In 8th grade, I was the 2nd leading scorer in the PAL League, and I think that qualifies me just as much as anyone else to join the NBA.
We should celebrate
her
courage.
I'm officially announcing my eligibility for the WNBA draft. I cannot score, but neither can Angel Reese, so I think I got a shot here.
Adopt woke policies, and this is what you wind up with here. The whole thing has become an absolute mockery. They have made a mockery of gender, of women, of everything.
We would
here.
never make a mockery of this
You're right.
WNBC
You're right.
stuff. Never.
They dug their own grave.
Ridiculous.
They were asking for this. Finally, it happened.
I always wanted to be Gianna anyway.
You're the worst.
I'm the worst.
Bob, John, I appreciate both of you guys. All right, coming up, another bombshell exposing the deep state's duplicity during Trump's first term, claiming Trump officials were agents of disinformation. Yeah, right. The man who is actually the opposite of that, John Solomon, broke the story. Next.
Hi, I'm Charlotte McBride. I love working at Newsmax because every day we bring you honest reporting with real conversations, no spin. We're not telling you how to think, we're just giving you the facts and letting you decide what's best for you and your family.
What if your GLP-1 for weight loss was as easy to take as a mint? Small, discreet, and easy. Think about that, no needles. This is compounded tirzepatide, a mint-flavored tablet designed to fit into your daily routine. You simply let it dissolve under your tongue. A simple daily tablet, as easy to take as a mint.
Save $50 with promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim. That's promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim.
You're careful about what you bring home when shopping, especially when it comes to feeding your family. Shouldn't your investments work the same way? At Timothy Plan, we offer a wide selection of mutual funds and ETFs that can help you allocate assets without compromising your values. From technology to healthcare, energy to real estate, our funds are not only diverse but uncompromising to your values. Timothy Plan funds are filtered to avoid companies involved in abortion, pornography, human trafficking, and other harmful agendas. What you invest in should reflect what you stand for. Are your investments bearing good fruit? What's in your portfolio? Contact your financial advisor today to find out, or contact Timothy Plan directly at 1-800-TIM-PLAN to discover more. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hey guys, Viagra is not your only option. Rove Sparks act fast and stay active longer. They aren't pills. Sparks dissolve under your tongue to reach your bloodstream for speedy results. Connect with a provider at rove.co/sparks.
Honey, Mortgage Money 6 says we should keep renting.
Mortgage Money 6?
Reba says more realtor agents recommend realtor.com. They track every market so you know when to make your move.
He also says that Bigfoot... Got it.
Make it real with realtor.com.
Did you hear about SHIELD, that test for colon cancer?
No, what?
It's just a blood test.
No.
Exactly.
SHIELD is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved SHIELD.
You know the rule. No phones at the dinner table.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just Noble Gold Investments. I bought some gold for the kids.
Finally.
Well, the gold you bought me gives me so much security in this economic disaster we're having. I want that for them too.
Well, I've been investing with Noble Gold Investments for years, and I'm pretty sure they can wait until after lunch.
Invest in something you can hold. Invest in Noble Gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to learn more.
We wanted transparency, but we couldn't find it. So we started Good Ranchers to reconnect the American family to the American farm. All of our meat is 100% born, raised, and harvested right here on American soil. But good sourcing is just the beginning. We go the extra mile to take stuff off your plate. Pre-trimmed cuts, easy thaw bags, fully cooked options.
Ooh, yeah, this is good.
And it's good for you. No antibiotics, no added hormones, no seed oils, no gluten, no funny business.
The deep state exposed again in 2020 as news of the Biden-Ukraine corruption scandal was gaining steam. The FBI and U.S. spy agencies did what they could to throw cold water on the actual story. According to a spreadsheet made public by the White House Government Transparency Task Force today, the deep state actually created a list of dozens of prominent organizations, Americans or foreigners, tied to the Biden family Ukraine scandal and President Trump's 2019 impeachment proceedings. Now, the spreadsheet was clearly divided along political lines. Democrats were listed as targets of Russian disinformation. Conservatives like Rudy Giuliani and Jim Jordan and even the Trump cabinet members being listed as conduits of disinformation. Right, that's not partisan at all. The secret operation, codenamed Round River, is effectively the direct opposite of Crossfire Hurricane with Russian collusion. They investigated anybody that they could tie Trump into Round River, into Russian collusion. In Round River, though, they just went out and discredited anybody with evidence, real evidence, that might have made Biden or his family look bad, so it didn't seem as credible. This is like the psyops I was talking about earlier in the show. The man who broke that story, who was also listed as a conduit of disinformation by the deep state, who is the opposite of that, actually one of the fundamental pillars of correct information recently, founder of Just the News, advisor to President Trump now, John Solomon. Sir, another bombshell from you.
Yeah, well, listen, credit to the president for declassifying these documents and for the intelligence agencies for making them public to us. What does it show? Well, first off, in the summer of 2020, when people were calling my reporting on Hunter Biden and Burisma disinformation or conspiracy theory, we now know the FBI had Hunter Biden's laptop with all the evidence of the pay-to-play that Congress would later show to us, and it had 14 informants, 14 confidential human sources providing them derogatory information on Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and the Biden crime family. Despite that, a small team of analysts was going in and trying to neutralize that information. Now, keep in mind, while the FBI is doing this, while it's neutralizing the Ukraine narrative, the Burisma Ukraine narrative, it's a sitting attorney general, Bill Barr, is actually investigating. He's asked a prosecutor in Pittsburgh to look at the evidence and see if there are some criminal charges warranted. While that prosecutor is looking at the information and the underlying confidential human sources that are providing it, the FBI's analyst team, the Round River teams, going into the files of those informants and marking them Russian disinformation so they would be useless or neutralized or not trusted for the purpose of investigation. It was the ultimate protection racket for Joe Biden, done at taxpayers' expense. And, you know, I think we all thought when the letter came out back in October 21 from the 51 intelligence experts that maybe the intelligence committee put their thumb on the scale. I think we now know they threw their whole body on the scale. This operation was protecting every aspect of Joe Biden's corruption.
That's what I've been talking about, is like the intel community. I was just talking about this. The intel community is literally been weaponized in favor of Democrats. And when they don't like the facts, they go after the source of the facts. It's like, oh, this guy's not credible. Like, this to me is insane. You also report that the effort to portray Joe Biden, the scandal, as Russian disinformation, like everything's Russia, 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 Russia. The 14, you said, informants were providing this information, and instead of being like, yeah, guys, we got a problem, they were like, no, all these people are bad and we should silence them.
Yeah. Listen, now we have a better picture of the menagerie that's going on. You've got the Biden campaign develops the theme that we're going to call the Hunter Biden stuff Russian disinformation and conspiracy theory. Then you're going to have 51 intelligence analysts go out and write a bogus letter saying, don't believe the Hunter Biden laptop, even though the FBI has it and has corroborated it. And then you have the intelligence community going out and discrediting long-term confidential human sources who have been providing information, some as far back as 2008. So these are long-term, reliable, confidential human sources, and they're putting their body in front of any criminal investigation. And then remember what the IRS whistleblowers told us a couple of years ago? They kept trying to bring a criminal case against Hunter Biden, and the deep state wouldn't let them do that. This was a 360-degree protection racket for the Biden family, and law enforcement and intelligence, which is supposed to be politically neutral and about the facts, ignored the facts and played the politics.
It's just so, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by this, but I continuously am. Because
it is kind of shocking, though.
Yeah, exactly. These are the same people who run the DMV, so we're not surprised. All right, John Sullivan, keep up the good work, man. I mean, this is incredible
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Carl.
All right, coming up, a day after signing a law that allows abortion to go up until birth in Massachusetts, the same state is now creating a commission favoring a religion to help shape public policy. I'm pretty sure you can't do that from the party that always screams separation of church and state. Culture Clash next.
Hey, it's Mark Lauder. My career's taken me from the State House to the White House, campaigns for mayor, all the way to President of the United States. I came to Newsmax to help our viewers get more than the headlines, beyond the spin. It's a perspective you'll only see on Newsmax.
You can join the Tunnel to Towers mission to do good by donating your car to today's veterans. Your car donation will help Gold Star families, as well as injured veterans, our first responders, and our homeless veterans. Donating your car is quick and simple. Any car is accepted, and we will pick up the car for free. Simply call 844-BRAVES.
By donating your car, you can make a real difference. You can do good.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online and save $45. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code NEWS. That's urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code NEWS.
Almost half of women runners say safety is their biggest concern. Majority of us have to constantly change routes, start times.
Instead of thinking of my pace, we worry about being followed, unwanted attention, and stuff that is simply scary.
Imagine this banana was a less lethal device, capable of incapacitating an attacker, letting you get to safety. At Byrna, we don't sell bananas. Go to Byrna.com to find how you can always safely make it to the finish line.
People always ask me how I stay ready, how I lock in when it actually counts. They think I must be on something. It's pure, it's potent, it's all me. Something that never lets me down. Armra, I'm on it.
Today's AI capabilities can make your head spin, but for scammers, it's the ultimate tool. They're using AI to exploit tech gaps and slip past traditional security. PCmatic keeps your information private and devices safe with online security solutions developed in America to protect Americans. Built for homes, businesses, and government agencies. Secure 5 devices for just $50 for your first year. Get online protection at PCmatic.com.
If you're about to replace your roof, stop. There's a solution about 80% less expensive. 9 out of 10 roofs can be saved by Roofmax. Guaranteed to extend the life of your current roof by 5 to 15 years at a fraction of the cost of a new roof. Roofmax's deep penetrating power restores flexibility and water protection. Nobody wants to replace their roof. Restore it instead with Roofmax for 80% less.
Oh, you thought the Massachusetts governor signing a bill that was legalizing abortion up till birth was bad? Buckle up for this one. Massachusetts lawmakers are now seeking to revive a bill that would create a commission to advise state government leaders on issues specifically affecting just Muslims, on issues like healthcare and education and civil rights. Oh, this commission would also study alleged Islamophobia and recommend how the state should respond to anything they deem as anti-Muslim or hatred towards Muslims. No problem, right? It's just like the Christian Commission. Oh, wait, they don't have one of those. No. Massachusetts doesn't have any other commission representing any other particular religion. I'm pretty sure you can't do this. Hayley Caronia, host of Scrolling with Hayley, and Bill D'Agostino, senior research analyst for the Media Research Center. I mean, Bill, you can't pick and choose based on the podium of diversity.
No, you can't. And look, I mean, I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm not even going to go into the constitutionality question because I think basically anybody with an IQ above room temperature knows that this is not what the founders intended, right? But beyond that,
none of which were Muslim, by the way.
Right. And so, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at is it's not like it's just some sect of Christianity or something, right? Like that would be enough of a constitutional issue. This is something completely different. This is a completely foreign religion. It has no roots in America, period. And what this commission is doing is essentially enshrining Muslim power, essentially Sharia law codified secularly in a very important state in the union, right? So this is a hostile takeover.
Yeah. Definitely. And libs are just like marching right into it head first. All right, so independent journalist, Hayley, Cam Higbie, no relation, recently held a live stream in which he asked Muslims why the Quran allows for sex with minors, something that is incompatible with American values and our laws, quite frankly. Many of them wouldn't engage or denied this to be true. And then he got to this guy. Watch this.
As long as it's the halal way.
Are you a Muslim?
I am.
And you live in the United States?
Yes. So you gotta request it from her mother, her parents. Gotta hold her dad's hand, and you gotta bring a sheikh from the masjid, so he can do the contract.
And then you're good to get down and freaky with a 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Really? And you don't see any moral problem with that?
No.
Well,
he's not like lying, Hayley. He's just saying, no, that's normal. Why? You don't do that?
Under no circumstances is sex with a minor okay. I don't care what your fake religion says. We don't do that in this country. We shouldn't do it anywhere. Children are the most vulnerable in our society. We must protect them with everything that we have. The fact that there are people that are pedophiles and they're using religion as a guise to protect this sick, deviant behavior is disgusting. We should not allow this. And the sick part is Democrats have basically back themselves into a corner where people in hijab and other people of color can do no wrong. So when they say, I'm attracted to minors and I want to have sex with them, they just say, okay, it's allowed. It's not. It should not be.
Yeah, it's not. And it should have no place. And that's the kind of stuff that should make people's hair stand up on the back of their neck and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We should reimagine this as a political ideology and not a religion. But how about this one? All right, Bill. The city of Dallas and Dallas-Fort Worth Airport will be dropping $300,000 on foot washing stations, where Muslims can wash their feet and hands before praying. And this is actually as the result of many people complaining about Muslims washing their feet in the sinks. I mean, like holy assimilation, Batman.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say that maybe the solution to too many Muslims washing their feet in the sinks at the airport is not to give them special foot washing stations. It's to reduce the number of Muslims in the airport, right? I mean, this is not the Middle East. There are plenty of Muslim countries. If you need to wash your feet in the public airport, then America's probably not the right country for you. If you're adhering to a religion that says that you can have sex with a child if their father says it's okay and you hold the dad's hand or whatever that lunatic said, America's definitely not the country for you. Right. So all the people making the economic argument, Texas's economy needs as many skilled immigrants as we can get. OK, think about where the skilled immigrants are coming from first, because I don't care how good of a programmer these people washing their feet in the sink and holding some guy's hand to ask about his daughter are. We don't want them here. Not if they're going to be like that.
No, assimilation. I love that. We're a nation built them. Yeah, who came through like Ellis Island and then built the Manhattan skyline at minimum wage. Like those are the immigrants that I want. Okay?
Right.
But Hayley, as we mentioned in the opening of tonight's show, the former CFO of the Southern Poverty Law Center, which, by the way, an organization that would deem us all white supremacist hate groups if they just heard the first half of this segment, okay? Haiti Barrich, or whatever, I don't really care what her name is, was arrested today for her role in misleading donors by paying extremist organizations over $1 million. Attorney General Todd Blanche addressed this today. Roll it.
This individual participated in the scheme as alleged. I believe she was part of the effort to open bank accounts in completely fictitious companies' names and make payments to individuals for reasons that were not that were not accurate as described.
Paying white supremacists, really.
Now, get them out. This is so ridiculous. I can't believe we even entertain people like this in our country. They have no place here. Get them out. This is absolutely ridiculous. And to your point about the first story that we covered in this segment about how there's going to be a commission that allows Muslims to, whatever they're supposed to do. What they're doing is basically making sure that Muslim and other immigrant groups can keep defrauding the American taxpayer. Shut it all down.
Yeah, 100%. Got to. At some point, someone's going to have to stand up, or it's going to come down to hard men doing hard things in a little while. Hayley, Bill, we appreciate it.
Thanks
so much, Carl.
All right, coming up, what if the biggest threat to your job isn't the actual current economy, but the way companies are changing how they hire people? My thoughts on that next.
How many children should go to bed hungry tonight? The answer is clear. No child should go to bed hungry. But that's not the reality. Tonight, 1 in 4 children around the world will go to bed hungry. The numbers are shocking, but the children behind the numbers are very real. Imagine 4 children that you know and love. Which one of them will go without food?
When your child is asking for food or a meal and you realize there's not enough to go around, it's hard.
Help deliver food to hungry children today. Visit letsfeedthechildren.org or scan this code to donate $19 a month. They need your help. And every dollar you give today is multiplied 8 times to deliver urgently needed food and essentials to children who are facing hunger and hardship. At Feed the Children, our mission is to end childhood hunger in the U.S. and around the world. And this is your chance to help. Visit this website or scan the code on your screen to donate $19 a month. It's easy, and your gift is multiplied 8 times so we can get food and essentials to children who are hungry and waiting.
When you're going through hard times, you need someone to be there for you. And when you're hungry, you need someone to help you.
At Feed the Children, our name says it all. We get food and essentials into the hands of children and families who need us most. Every child deserves a chance to survive and thrive. And today is your day to make that happen. Donate now. Go online or scan and help us create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
Why go on Roe? Because 1 in 4 guys experience ED. Guys, connect with a provider to find treatment that could be right for you, like fast-acting dissolvables or daily gummies. If 1 in 4 guys deal with ED, then 1 in 4 guys should go on Roe.
If you find yourself stopping more and more to catch your breath, you could be experiencing what we call temporary oxygen insufficiency. Give yourself a boost with Boost Oxygen. A few deep breaths of Boost Oxygen is all you need to help combat the negative effects of what we call temporary oxygen insufficiency.
Now I live life on my terms. With Boost Oxygen, I am unstoppable.
Get all-natural 5-star respiratory support with Boost Oxygen at these fine retailers.
Reignite your passion with custom anniversary bands from the Jewelry Exchange. 14K half-carat natural band, $6.99. 1-carat, $11.90. 2-carat fancy bands, $15.90. Endless choices guaranteed to appraise for double. The Jewelry Exchange Direct.
You know, here's something I really don't think anybody's talking about or seeing coming or any of that stuff. The coming contraction of the market's need for human labor, all right, before your eyes glaze over. We talk about the economy all the time, and the numbers coming back today, there was like a 0.1% increase in inflation, and interest rates maybe fluctuating 0.25% here. Guys, none of this matters in the grand scheme of things. What if I told you that a global realignment was, and how we imagine labor, by the way, was already happening? Regulation, especially in blue states, is becoming increasingly and prohibitively expensive for companies to exist. This is why there's an exodus, a mass exodus of business from blue states to red states, New York to Florida, California to Texas, Washington to Idaho. But not every single business can just pick up and move. Some need to stay there because that's where their clientele is. Sometimes it's too expensive to move to large manufacturing facilities. So in the coming years, there's going to be a massive realignment in labor. I'm not talking about labor unions. They become prohibitively expensive anyway. But I believe that the corporate labor force, and this will actually affect unions too, this will be the downfall of unions as well, but they will begin to function in a much more outsourced method. For example, okay, my producer, Kira, had a dresser that needed to be assembled from IKEA. They're like impossible to put together. There's like a bazillion pieces. It's cheap crap from China, and nobody knows what they're doing because the instructions are all whack. But for $60, she was able to hire someone to come and do it. No benefits, no health care, no taxes, just a simple outsource of a single task. It was like Airbnb for labor. This will realign everything, no matter the wage. It will be peer-to-peer, task-oriented stuff. There'll be no minimum wage requirements. It almost like returning to like an old barter practice of, trade back in the day. We saw post-COVID the huge shift from in-office to remote work, and a lot of it stayed in place. People becoming temporary task contractors too. Instead of hiring a full-time person, this saves companies Huge amounts of money. They don't have to pay the other half of the payroll taxes, by the way. Usually they don't have any benefit package with it. There's tons of other savings for them. Some of these other changes have been due to automation and technological advances, too. Remember when I was telling you about AI replacing jobs? Elon Musk talking about this for years.
And I do think we'll have universal high income. We're basically just issuing money to people. The AI and robots are going to make so much stuff and provide so many services that they will actually run out of things to do for the humans. I think money will stop being relevant at some point in the future.
Like, I don't think technology will ever be able to produce enough to pay for humanity's existence without working, but I also didn't have the vision to catch rockets with chopsticks, so I could be wrong here. But how do you transition? The jobs are going offline while the technology is still not profitable for these companies. So there's like this lag time in which there's literally not enough jobs for humans to pay their bills before the automated productivity creates a deflation that would allow it to exist. Our society and our safety nets, like general welfare and Medicaid and even Social Security that we pay into our whole lives, which is now bankrupt, equate to about $4 trillion of our $7 trillion annual budget. It's over half. If Elon's correct, people will be forced into some sort of benefit system that is completely unsustainable. And this is going to start from the bottom up, too. The labor force drastically changed in the last 10 years. Entry and mid-level jobs have been replaced by technology. It's much easier to replace somebody that punches numbers into a spreadsheet than the CEO, let's be honest. But if you don't have people doing those entry-level jobs because they're not available, well, then there's no pipeline to fill that managing director or CEO seat when they retire. See how that works? Couple that with college kids graduating that are now having the hardest time finding work for a multitude of reasons. One being most degrees are absolutely useless in the workforce, which is why some major law firms even aren't hiring Ivy League grads anymore because they're not being taught anything real in college. Most of these college grads, they're also being told in school, which is a real disservice, that they should be, graduate, you get a $100,000 a year income with absolutely no skills. You're owed that. And when they don't get offered that, they have to take a job at Chipotle to pay the bills, which, by the way, much of that, you can see them automating skinning avocados. This is why I have said for so long, you need to learn a skill. People don't know how to build things anymore. And there's a reason that people with a $200,000 gender study degree is serving me my coffee and the air conditioning repairman is making $300,000 a year. And I love to say it. Remember this?
Anybody who can go down 300 to 3,000 feet in the mine, sure and hell can learn how to program as well. Give me a break. Anybody who can throw coal into a furnace can learn how to program, for God's sake.
That aged like milk. And now all those coders are being replaced by AI, and the coal miners are being hired back in mass to mine the coal to power the AI that replaced the coders. The more essential your skill is, the longer you will have security in this workforce, because there is no security for a lot of these entry-level jobs, especially in white-collar America. I think a lot of those jobs will be replaced in the next 10 years. And honestly, there's nothing we can do about it if we want to stay globally competitive with some of our adversaries like China. No things. Before we go, a plot to drive migrants out of Ireland has Britain on alert. Maybe they're onto something, though. Next.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.
Most people call leaf filter when their gutters are clogged and they notice one of the many issues that can bring. You can get ahead of costly damage by protecting your home's gutters today.
Schedule your free inspection today. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com.
While this banana may not save you from someone breaking into your home, Berna's banana helped one vet repel an intruder in his.
This huge guy, 6'5", 6'6", just barreled through my front door. I have my Berna and my Glock. I always go for the Berna first. I've seen enough death and destruction to last 2 lifetimes. Here is the perfect item I can have. Feel totally safe and know I'm not going to kill anybody.
At Berna, we don't sell bananas, we sell peace of mind.
Hi, I'm Sally with sellmypolicy.com, the fast concierge service here to help you sell your life insurance policy for cash now. Our experienced team makes it fast and easy for you to get your offer. Use the money however you want. John sold his policy for $590,000 in cash for health care. And Cheryl sold her policy for $90,000 in cash and used it to supplement her retirement income. If you are over 65 with a life insurance policy of $100,000 of coverage up to $50 million of coverage, then you may qualify. With Sell My Policy, some people choose to sell all or just part of their policy so they can access cash now while also keeping coverage in place for their loved ones. Plus, you'll get paid fast. Trusted by seniors, there's no obligation to sell. Find out what your policy is worth today.
It's fast and free with Sell My Policy.
Talk with a policy expert now to see how much cash you could receive. Call 800-910-2274 or visit sellmypolicy.com.
I'm stressed.
Great white. Swallow you whole.
No. I mean, I'm 45. I need to get screened for colon cancer. All that prep, holding out the water.
Try Cologuard Plus.
There you go.
It detects 95% of colon cancers, similar to colonoscopy.
And it ships to your home or your ship.
False positive and negative results maker. The Cologuard Plus test is not for those at high risk.
Hey, is there a poop deck joke here?
There is now.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drupinski. I've been looking at the aging process for a long time. Fatty 15 actually slows it down. Fatty 15 comes out of Navy dolphin research. Without the C15, our cells become fragile and age and oxidize. This pushes that back. That's why I take Fatty 15.
What if your GLP-1 for weight loss was as easy to take as a mint? Small, discreet, and easy. Think about that. No needles. This is compounded tirzepatide, a mint-flavored tablet designed to fit into your daily routine. You simply let it dissolve under your tongue. A simple daily tablet, as easy to take as a mint.
Save $50 with promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim. That's promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim.
Every day, bumps and bangs happen. Bruises are optional. Use daily dermatologist-recommended Dermend and reduce the appearance of bruises. Get Dermend Moisturizing Bruise Cream in the first aid aisle.
Kibble. It's been the standard for decades, and it's failing our dogs. That's why we created Badlands Ranch Superfood Complete. It's gently air-dried, locking in the nutrients, and the flavor dogs go wild for. Visit your local pet food retailer today.
Ireland may be onto something. This is a new report out of the UK claims that the new IRA, the Irish Republican Army, is allegedly advertising a campaign to drive migrants out of Ireland. And they're threatening a civil war. And the reported plan is serious enough that British authorities are like, whoa, we got to go on alert for this. Now, according to the report, security officials are concerned about a possible escalation in violence with fears that a campaign inside Ireland could eventually have consequences across the Irish Sea. I mean, like, who could have possibly seen this coming? I mean, seriously, when government officials fail to address the concerns of their own citizens, people start looking for other ways to make themselves heard and, I don't know, protect themselves. And when people have more to lose than gain over fighting your government. If your children are being raped in the street and they're not doing anything about it, you have more to gain by overthrowing your government, Rob.
It's hard to imagine that with what they've done to the West, that there won't be consequences sometime in the near future. The way they've treated their people and Europe is a lot worse than we've had it here. But we're moving in that direction. It's hard to imagine that there won't be some kind of consequence, whatever it is.
Yeah, and they
Carl,
keep electing people. Good to see you, man.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.